We're doing a little tribute to Aretha Franklin this morning. You'll probably recognize these songs. I don't know if I can do the song justice vocally, but please sing along. Help me out here. This is one of her most famous songs. It's called Chain of Fools. Chain, chain, chain. Chain, chain, chain. Chain, chain, chain. A chain of fools. For 5 long years, I thought you were my woman, but I found out I'm just a link in your chain. You got me where you want me. I ain't nothing but your fool. You treated me mean. Oh, you treated me cruel. A chain, chain, chain. A chain of fools. A chain, chain, chain. A chain of fools. Now every chain not a weak link. I might be a weak child, oh, but I give you strength. Oh, now you tell me to leave you alone. My papa said, come on home. My doctor said, take it easy. Oh, but your loving is much too strong. I'm wedded to your chain, chain, chain. Chain, chain, chain. Chain, chain, chain. A chain of food. Oh, one of these mornings, the chain is gonna break. But up until then, I'm gonna take all I can take. Chain, chain, chain. Chain, chain, chain. Chain, chain, chain. A chain of food. Chain, chain, chain. Chain, chain, chain. Chain, chain, chain. A chain of food. One more. Okay. All right, we're going to shift away from Aretha Franklin now and get to the theme of today's lesson too, which is about simplicity and small town America and a time gone by, maybe. You'll recognize this one too, and it features John Robbins.
Slow down, you move too fast. Got to make the morning last. Just kicking down the cobblestones. Look at the fun and feeling groovy.
Groovy.
La 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 la, feeling groovy. Hello lamppost, what you knowin'? I've come to watch your flowers growin'. Ain't you got no rhymes for me? Do-do-do-do, feeling groovy. Feeling groovy. La-la-la-la-la-la, feeling groovy. I got no deeds to do, no promises to keep. I'm dappled and drowsy and ready for sleep. Let the morning time pack all its petals on me. Life, I love you, all is groovy. La 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 la, feeling groovy. La 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 la, feeling groovy. La 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 la, feeling groovy. Slow down, you move too fast. You got to make the morning last. Just kicking down the cobblestones, looking for fun and feeling groovy. Feeling groovy, la 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 la. Feeling groovy, la 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 la. Feeling groovy, la 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 la.
feeling groovy.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Feeling groovy. Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Jane McCarthy, and I'm here to welcome you because our Reverend Cheryl is away with family, with her mom. So we send her lots of love. And so I'm here. I want to welcome you to Unity of Gaithersburg. And now, as we begin our time together this morning, let's center ourselves for a moment of prayer. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for this time together as we share this glorious morning together, feeling the love and the peace and the joy that happens with us as we come together here at Unity of Gaithersburg. Amen. So we'd like to take a moment now to welcome anyone here for the first time. Raise your hand. Okay, we're all oldies but goodies. All right. Well, you know, that's okay. That's fine too. So let's stand and get this going this morning and have our song together. Sing our song together. What are we? Simple gifts. Greet our neighbors.
It's a gift to have friends and a gift to bring. It's a gift to think of others, not of me. And when I'll do it again. Here we go. 'Tis the gift to have friends and a true friend to be. 'Tis the gift to think of others, not of me.
And when we what are there?
Think and feel we will all live together with the love that is real. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we shall not be ashamed. To turn, turn, will be our delight, till by turning, turning, we come round right.
Okay, now we will take a few minutes for our transformational opportunities, which you can find in our newsletter. And if you'd like to receive our newsletter, leave your email with us in the back, and we can send it to you by email. So our first one is Unity is participating in a community food and school supply drive to benefit Gaithersburg's middle school. And this will keep going on until August 26th. We have a list in the back there of the items that are needed. And there's a box there in the back that you can leave your items to help these kids. So thank you for your generous contributions as we do our part to make sure that these young kids and their families have what they need to thrive in our community. So our next transformational opportunity is on Monday, September 3rd. We're going to march again in the 80th annual Gaithersburg Labor Day Parade. We had so much fun last year and sharing our light and love and peace of unity downtown Gaithersburg. So let's wear our tie-dye shirt and march again. You can sign up in the back if you would like to join us this year. And Tuesday, September 4th through November 6th, Unity of Gaithersburg is offering a 10-week prosperity class called Infinite Abundance, Knowing, Claiming, and Expressing All That Is. And I thought this was going to happen. Okay, this is a tithing class that will teach life-changing principles and feature experiential learning to support you in transforming your prosperity consciousness. Are you ready to make that new transformational level of joy and experience joy and relationships and peace and real well-being? If so, join us for this class. Registration fee is $50, and you can register on our website. So Silent Unity's World Day of Prayer begins again on Thursday, September 13th. The theme for this year is Courage to Heal. Unity of Gaithersburg will open for 24 hours of continuous prayer with a Holding the Light Sacred Circle, which will begin at 7:15 on Wednesday, September 12th. And then on Thursday at 7:15 p.m., we will close with a meditation service in the prayer chapel. So sign up in the back if you'd like to participate with us in this 24-hour vigil. This year marks the 25th anniversary that Unity has been doing that now, Silent Unity, and that we've been doing that here at Unity of Gaithersburg. So it's important, this recognition of the importance of prayer on our own spiritual journey. So join us here at Unity of Gaithersburg for these prayer-filled events. And now, if you'd please center yourself as we listen to our daily word. Our daily word for Sunday, August 19th, the focus, open and humble heart. Affirmation, an open mind and humble heart helps me grow and learn. In my spiritual development, learning plays a vital role. I consciously approach my growth as a novice student. This cultivates important spiritual qualities such as open-mindedness and humility. I follow this discipline whether I am new to the spiritual path or have journeyed for years. I view even the most challenging situations as gifts in the form of important life lessons. By being receptive to it, every person and circumstance teaches me something invaluable about the divine nature of me and others. Studying worldly matters can be fun and support me in daily living. Still, nothing fulfills me like growing in spiritual wisdom. As I gain knowledge and skills, I joyfully express my divinity. I deepen my ability to walk life's journey with an open heart and humble spirit. And from Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 32. Then I saw and considered it. I looked and received wisdom. And now let us prepare for meditation by singing All Is Well.
As I close my eyes and the world disappears, I can feel my breath rise and fall. There's a light inside that dispels all my fears, and I hear a gentle voice calling, all is well, all is well. 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 If you will, just relax into the seat. Close your eyes. And notice how you feel in your body. Notice your breathing. Perhaps your breathing is shallow, or maybe it's deep. Whatever it is, have that be okay. And just simply notice. Now scan your body and see if you can determine places where you might be holding tension or stiffness, where there might be some discomfort. Breathe into those areas. And when you breathe out, just release that tension. And then come back to your breathing and notice how it feels. Be aware of how the breath feels as it comes in through your nostrils and comes out again. Notice how the back of your chair feels next to your body. And notice whether you feel cold or hot in different portions of your body. Now let your consciousness be placed upon your heart. And bring your focus there. In our hearts, we are all connected. We are all community. Every single person is connected to everyone else. And we only know this through our hearts. We only know this when we're centered. % of our input comes from our eyes, But when they're closed, we can be aware of other things. Allow your heart to connect with everyone in this room. This is our community. This is our family. Now let your heart expand to connect with everyone in the Gaithersburg area. This is our community too. These are our people. Now let your heart energy expand to include all of Maryland. And let it go across the river so it's all of Virginia. And think to yourself, this is my family. These are my people. And let that expansion rise up and encompass the whole eastern seaboard. This is my community. This is my family. These are my people. Now bring your consciousness higher and have it envelop the whole United States, even Alaska and Hawaii. And feel your connection with everyone who's an American. Now let it go higher to include everyone in North America and South America. Bring your consciousness even higher and allow yourself to see yourself connected with everyone in Europe and Asia and Africa and Australia, the northern and southern caps of the earth. This is my family. These are my people. This is my community. And let yourself accept that everyone's the same and everyone's a little bit different. And that's fine. And their differences add to the richness of your experience. And the similarities of being human makes us all feel safe. Now let your consciousness come back, until you're just feeling your own body and your full heart in the silence. Just become aware of your breathing again. And bring yourself to your present surroundings. And notice how grounded you feel. Feel that connection with everyone. Whoever you meet, these are my people. This is my family. This is my community. And I'm so grateful. And so be it. Amen. lighthearted and carefree, knowing all is well. I move through my day, feeling lighthearted and carefree, knowing all is well. All is well. I move through my day, feeling lighthearted and carefree, knowing all is well. I move through my day, feeling lighthearted and carefree, knowing all is well. All is well. Good morning, everyone. Hey, Gomer. I want to ask, is there anyone who's never seen the Andy Griffith Show or Andy of Mayberry? Good. I'm very, very attached to this program, as many other people are. I saw the first episode in 1960, and pretty much every episode since. And as you know, the Andy Griffith Show, and later was called Andy of Mayberry in reruns, was a situation comedy in this fictitious town of Mayberry, which was based on where Andy grew up. He was the only Southerner in the whole show, but it was based on where he grew up, was Mount Airy, North Carolina. And it won 10 Emmys. It was in the top 10 every year, and when it went off the air, it went from 60 to 68. When it went off the air in 68, it was the #1 program in the United States. Don Knotts himself won 5 Emmys. It was a very, very popular show from the very beginning. It started, I don't know if you remember this other show by Danny Thomas called Make Room for Daddy. Anyway, Danny Thomas was this loud, boisterous New Yorker kind of guy, and he came blowing through the small town of Mayberry in one of the episodes. And Andy caught him speeding and pulled him over. And he tries to bribe Andy and thinks he's a big shot. Anyway, that was the first episode. It was the original spin-off. And they realized, oh, they had something here. Ronnie Howard, Opie was there, and Aunt Bee was there, Frances Bavier. And they think, hey, we got something here. So they made a show out of that after that one episode. Well, in that original episode, Andy Griffith was doing his old role as kind of Will Stockton from No Time for Sergeants, which is about a country bumpkin who goes into the Army. Later, that became the basis for the Gomer Pyle show. But he was this kind of real heavy Southern accent, big smile, very kind of gruff. And he sort of had that persona in the first episode, where he was just silly and goofy and Southern and y'all, thank y'all, real kind, kind of. So It didn't last, though. That really transformed very quickly. While the show was funny, there was also a lot of, as you know, homespun wisdom that was shared in Maybury. A lot of lessons about friendship and conflict resolution and forgiveness, simplicity. And after the first time when Andy did the show was created by someone named Sheldon Leonard, who's a very famous producer. I don't know, as a tribute to him, I didn't know if you know this, but you know the show The Big Bang Theory? They named the two characters Sheldon and Leonard after Sheldon Leonard. Anyway, Sheldon Leonard was on the set, and Andy said to him, I can't do this after the first show. He says, everybody's yelling and screaming, there's a lot of yelling back and forth. And Sheldon said to him, well, you don't have to have it like that. He says, that's how Danny Thomas did it. Danny liked yelling. Everybody was yelling at everybody. That was Danny Thomas's personality. He said, you can do it the way you want to do it. If you want to set the tone of the show, you said how you want to be. And it was a great relief to him that he could make the set so friendly, and it was just a happy place to work. So what I noticed was that after the first episode, when he played No Time for Sergeants on Broadway, one of the people in the show was Don Knotts, and they became friends. So Don Knotts calls him after watching the first episode and just said to him, I think you could use a deputy. And Andy said, you might be right. Call Sheldon Leonard and see if you can get on the show. And that was it. The second episode, they sort of brought him in as Cousin Barney, but they dropped that very quickly. But anyway, the second episode, he comes in, and that was it. And Andy's whole character changed. He dropped the whole country bumpkin thing and acting silly and getting the jokes himself. And he said it was an amazing transformation. He became the straight man. Andy was the straight man all the way through. When he had been this whole life of comedy, he was the straight man to all these comedic characters. And there were some kooky characters in that show, but he would always set them up, and he was very generous. He gave them all the jokes. And so he was the sheriff, and he was also the editor of the paper, and he was also the justice of the peace. He was kind of everything in the town. But over time, he became the grounding force of Maybury, kind of holding it all together. And I just learned a lot from this. I wanted to just show you some of the things that Andy imparts when he gets a chance to just speak, and you can see what his character is like. It was something that many guys that I've met wished Andy Taylor was their father, just to have a father. His relationship with Opie was so amazing. So here's a little clip on someone interviewing him, because Andy never carried a gun. Barney carried a gun, and it was very important to Barney to carry a gun. He wasn't allowed to carry a bullet. He couldn't put the bullet in the gun because he kept shooting it off in the holster. So he had to keep the bullet in his pocket. But it was very important that he carried a gun, but it wasn't important to Andy. And here, let me show you why. Go ahead. Yes.
Tell me, Sheriff Taylor, why don't you carry a gun?
Bring these lights down.
Oh, I don't know. When a man carries a gun all the time, the respect he thinks he's getting might really be fear. So I don't carry a gun because I don't want the people of Maybury to fear a gun. I'd rather they would respect me.
Isn't that amazing? In Unity, we often look at a metaphysical interpretation of what looks like on the surface. You sort of come up from a higher point of view and say, well, what is really going on here other than the jokes and the funniness? So for me, I've always thought of the relationship between Andy and Barney. By the way, Andy Griffith and Don Knotts were very good friends ever since No Time for Sergeants, and they talked almost every day through all their lives. They were very, very close friends. And Andy attributes the success of the show pretty much to Barney. When Don Knotts came in as Barney, that did it. And metaphysically, I feel like Andy Taylor represents the soul, the highest self, the grounded, centered, who we really are. And Barney represents the ego. if you look at the characteristics of both of them, Andy represents being gentle. He has the power, but he uses it sparingly. He sees humor in life, has space for all kinds of strange and eccentric characters in his town, doesn't use force, doesn't carry a gun, responds instead of reacts. He's very present and observant of behavior, not concerned with appearances, willing to be unpopular if he believes he's doing what is right, very clear on his responsibilities as a parent and a leader. This is why people wished he was their dad. He didn't mind that people made fun of him. He didn't mind that the FBI would come in and think he was just a local yokel. Didn't mind at all. They could think what they want. He knew who he was, and he was grounded in who he was. And he had amazing powers of observation. You can't do that if you're not centered. Barney, on the other hand, was always in reaction, always over the top, childlike, strict adherence to rules over people. He memorized all the rules, followed the rules. That was very important to him. But he always missed the big picture. If you look at Barney, he's almost entirely wrong. Every single perspective he has, everything he says, it's all wrong, but he's sure that he's right. He has all this sort of fake confidence. It's just like the ego. Speaks first, reacts quickly, worries, can't let things go, concerned with appearances, the importance of the uniform, rules and regulations. And it turns out, without Andy, he can't run the town. The few times that Andy would go away, Barney would end up locking up everyone in the town for some violation. The jails were all full, and he just couldn't see that. No, they were jaywalking. He just locked everyone up, including himself. He would often lock himself in, right? But it's okay, because the keys were reachable. You could get the keys over there. He can be very, what's called, officious. It was very important to him, the office that he held and the uniform and all the stuff that didn't really matter to Andy. So I wanted to show you a few clips of, notice their relationship, and you can see how officious Barney is. It just makes Andy nuts. And then the other thing is how Barney sees what he projects, but it's Andy who actually has the ability to observe, and you can't do that unless you're grounded in your higher self. Go ahead.
Don't that seem a little strange to you? Customer going back to the barber shop the very next day?
No.
No?
No. Didn't you ever hear of a person with a compulsion complex?
What?
Compulsion complex. You know, like when folks got to be washing their hands all day long. That's a hand-washing compulsion. Well, what you're looking at there, that's a case of haircutting compulsion.
All three of them?
No, all three of them's got the compulsion. Listen, you find compulsion nuts all over.
Always wrong. In this next clip, you get a chance to see Barney being unnecessarily officious. He has to do this thing. He wants to be sheriff. Go ahead.
Now, men, there are a few things we ought to get straightened out right at the start to avoid any grief later on. Now, here at The Rock, we have two basic rules. Memorize them so that you can say them in your sleep. The first rule is, obey all rules. Secondly, do not write on the wall, as it takes a lot of work to erase writing off of a wall. Now, as we tell all men when these gates shut behind them, you're starting a new life. If you're wise, you'll begin rehabilitation.
Barney. Now, Barney, I got to go out and look for the two that's still loose. Now, promise me you'll stay away from the prisoners.
You got nothing to worry about.
Make Gomer stay away from them, too.
See, I told you the Mayberry jail is going to be run as secure as the big house itself.
I have to tell you, one of the high points of my life was that I got to actually talk to Don Knotts one time. He was on some radio show, and I can't believe I got through, but I talked to him, and I asked him this question I always wanted to ask him, which was, are you like Barney? Are you really just acting, or is that kind of like your personality anyway? And he was very sweet. He said, no, I'm nothing like Barney. He said, Barney wears his nerves on the outside of his skin. I don't do that. I'm much more easygoing than Barney, but this was just a character I took on, like a nervous character. He said, but I'm really not like that at all. I was stunned. You know how that is? You think the person is the way they are. That made my day. I heard this funny thing on YouTube. I was looking for all these clips and stuff, and someone said, why is everyone so happy in Mayberry? And the answer is, this will surprise you, it's because they're all single. Everyone in the town is single. Andy, Barney, Aunt Bee, Miss Ellie, Floyd the Barber, Helen, Thelma Lou, Gomer, Goober, Ernest T. Bass, Mr. Darling, his entire clan, and Howard Sprague. They're all single. Doesn't mean anything. One of the things that was very important to Andy was that he didn't like shows that have something called set-up gag, set-up joke, where everything's a lead-in so somebody can say a one-liner and then they can do a laugh track. He did not want that at all. And anybody who tried to put a joke into the script was cut. That joke would be cut. He wanted the humor to come through because of character development, because the people themselves are just funny. They're amusing. And the deeper you get into their character, the more humor you see in them. And they become lovable as opposed to just setting up with a joke. It lost it a little bit because, of course, everything's copied. So right after this was Beverly Hillbillies and then Petticoat Junction. But you could see in those shows it was a lot more set-up joke, set-up joke. And in this, it was just, these characters were just fascinating. Life was funny, but in their own weird way, this is where he was such a good straight man. And people would say, I couldn't believe that all these funny lines he just let me take. He said, why don't you say that? Why don't you say that? So he kept deferring to everyone else. One of the most interesting characters who, this is the thing about Andy, he got such a kick out of everybody. He just had space and acceptance of people, even though they were strange. And don't we have to do that too in our family? There's always someone weird, and you have to figure out some way to accept them. And Barney was so impatient because he had something to do and he wanted to, he was just trying to stir something up. In this next clip, I just want you to see what it's like. Notice the difference between how Barney treats Floyd and how Andy treats Floyd. This is Floyd the Barber.
Hey, Floyd. You fellas see the paper this morning? No. There's a little article. Robert Gribble and Emma Larch announced their coming nuptial.
Oh, that's interesting, Floyd. The reason Andy and me are here is...
Did you ever see what's written in the cement outside the shop out there?
No.
No? Well, go out there and take a look. And you too, buddy. Go ahead. Just see what's written in that cement out there.
Floyd, we are not here to look at what's written in the cement.
Well, what's written out there?
It says, Bobby Gribble hates Emma Larch. Some kid wrote that 11 years ago when that sidewalk was first laid.
No kidding.
Yeah, 11 years ago, Bobby Gribble hated Emma Larch. And now they're announcing their coming nuptials. Ain't life funny?
Floyd!
Can't you just see him way back in school? With him dunking their pigtails in the inkwell and hiding their pencils and making fun and everything. Oh, boy, she'll get even with him now. You can tell him that.
Floyd, there's something we have to discuss here.
Oh, what's that, buddy?
August 9th, 1946.
Yeah. Bobby Gribble and Emma Larch.
Yeah. Can I see that?
Oh, yes.
Floyd, pay attention here. Now, I'm talking about assault.
Always wrong. One of the criticisms of the show, you can tell there's something about it when it comes on. When I used to watch the show, especially in reruns, it was just such a break from the tension of the day. This was just a simple time, a little town. Did anyone ever feel that? I would like to live in Mayberry. I don't know if you know this, but Kentlands, the neighborhood Kentlands, was supposed to be designed around the theme of Mayberry. Yes, that they wanted people to kind of live above the stores and that you could walk to everything. Or the original design of Kentlands was supposed to be a town kind of like Mayberry. Anyway, one of the criticisms of the show, however, was that, yeah, I can see why people like this. Think about it. The show started in the early 60s. It went through 1968, the most turbulent times in America, and ignored all that stuff. You probably noticed this, but unlike our church, this whole thing was mighty white. Everybody was white. Everybody was the same in a sense. And so, sure, it's easy to get along when there's no controversy and there's no people who are different from you. Actually, I thought about that, and I think, well, that might be an apt criticism, except that the way Andy was, there were very, very different people and almost different tribes within this community, and his job was to mediate and keep everyone connected. He had respect for everyone. And I wanted to show you this clip. There were very, very strange characters who would kind of come to town, but they weren't like the people in the town. They were very, very different. And you could easily have judgments against them and write them off, and Andy never did that. One of the things he did that joined everyone together, Andy went to the University of North Carolina, and he was he got a degree in music. He was a gospel singer. He had a few albums. He always played guitar, and every chance he got, when he could bring music into the show, that's kind of what brought people together. Even if somebody was in jail, if they played guitar, you know what I mean, he would play with them in jail. And there was this very interesting family from the Hill people. They were called the Darlings. I don't know if you remember this. And it was all these they were all single. It was all these sons and a daughter, and there was this strange character who also lived out there, this poor character Howard Morris played called Ernest T. Bass. Remember this? You ain't heard the last, Ernest T. Bass. And he was he would get your attention by throwing rocks through your window. That's how he would, if he loved you, he would throw a rock. Everything was a rock through your window. But I was amazed that Andy had space for these strange, very, very different from him and from everybody else at Mayberry people, and somehow made it work. So at one point, Ernest T. Bass thought that he should have married the daughter of Mr. Darling. But that wasn't going to happen, and she was going to marry someone else. But he couldn't handle that. He felt like, I didn't get a chance to court her properly and something like this. So Andy orchestrates this whole thing for at least give Ernest T. a chance. And look how it goes. They all have some acceptance for Ernest T., but he's a strange character.
You want straight, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, wait, stop. Sorry. This clip is different. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. This is an interesting thing. Children nowadays have often been accused of being entitled, that they think they deserve something just for showing up. And Mayberry, even though it was in the 60s, was sort of like the 30s. It was like going back to the 30s. And one of the things about Andy as a father, which was so remarkable, was he did not, like, my father was very intense and very sort of harsh, and it was hard for me to be close to him. He was judgmental and distant, and I was kind of afraid of him. And I think as a result, when I grew up, I wanted my kids to like me. And it wasn't a good thing to be your kid's pal. And Andy was not afraid to have his child not agree with him, be upset with him. It didn't bother him at all. He never was confused about that he needed to be his kid's best friend. He didn't. And so in this episode, a spoiled kid moves into the neighborhood named Arnold Winkler. And Arnold starts working on Opie, saying, Opie, your father must have seen you coming. What do you mean 25-cent allowance? I get 75 cents. That's what people get. He says, and you have to work for it? You have to clean out the garage to get your quarter? He must have seen you coming. So he said, no, you just get it's called an allowance, and you get 75 cents for just being a kid. So Opie says, I don't think that's right, or my pa would have told me. So he tries to explain to his father that there's these new rules, and that now kids get 75 cents, and they get it for doing nothing. You just get 75 cents. He says, 75 cents, that's a lot of money. That's like $40 a year. He says, well, I guess it is. So finally, after he presents this whole thing, so we're going to switch to the new rules, right, Paul? And this is the clip.
You want it straight, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here it goes. There are no rules for pa's and sons. It's as simple as this. Each mother or father raises his boy or girl, as the case may be, the way that he thinks is best. And I think it's best for you to get a quarter and work for it. You see, when you give something, in this instance, cleaning the garage, and you get something in return, like a quarter, well, that's the greatest feeling in the world. You do feel good after working, don't you?
Uh-huh. Good and tired.
Well, as you get bigger, well, you'll be doing more and more work for more and more return, and that good feeling will get bigger. Do you understand what I mean?
I think so.
Good.
I'm not going to get the 75 cents. And I have to work for the 25.
Right. All clear to you?
Yeah. The bigger you get, the tireder you get.
Well, you just think about that for a while.
Do I have to?
Don't you want to think about it?
It makes me kind of sad.
Well, the thing to do when you're feeling sad is to shoot for the good feeling.
Clean the garage.
Right.
It's long ball.
So long.
So Opie didn't always agree with his father. He didn't like it. But the division of their relationship, I just thought was very, very healthy. And by the way, Ronnie Howard, then became Ron Howard, a very famous director, but he's an amazingly normal person. He kind of attributes that to growing up on this set, that he was not a screwed-up kid. He was very, very normal because everything on this set was normal, and people loved working there. Anyway, let's get back to this thing about accepting people who are quite different from you and including them in your community. This clip is this one where Ernest T. Bass is going to make trouble for them forever, and Andy figures out a way to give him his sort of chance to court the daughter of the Darlings. Go ahead.
Charlene, look out here. Can you see me?
I see ya.
Good. Charlene, you ain't never given me a chance to court you proper, to prove to you that I'm the man for you. First off, I wants to serenade you.
Okay, Ernest T. Serenade away.
All right. Listen. Old Lamprey, jump in the fire, fire too high, jump in the pot, pot too black, jump in the crack, crack too high, jump in the sky, sky too blue, jump in canoe, canoe too shallow, jump in the tallow, tallow too soft, jump in the loft, loft too rotten, jump in the cotton, cotton so white she stayed there all night.
Tell him it was good.
That's good, Ernest T.
Now you want to hear me sing Eating Goober Peas?
No thanks. Good night.
Wait a minute. Looky here. I can do 18 chin-ups.
That's good. Good night.
I can do chin-ups. I'm the best rock thrower in the county, and I'm saving up for a gold tooth. I'm the man for you, Charlene. You know it. Now can I come over there and kiss you on the jaw?
No, you can't, Ernest T. Bass. This here's my plighted bride. And tomorrow we're having a preacher wedding just to satisfy you. Now go on home.
You just to think you're having a wedding tomorrow. Maybe you ain't.
What'd you say?
I don't chew my cabbage twice. And you ain't heard the last, Ernest T. Bass.
Well, I guess we can all get some sleep now.
Howard Morris, as Ernest T. Bass, only made 5 appearances in the 8 years. Every one of them was amazingly memorable. While he was relaxed and he kidded around with people on the set, by the way, Frances Bavier did not like that. She thought he was too unprofessional. She was the only one in the cast who sort of gave him a hard time about that, but he would kid around between shows and stuff. But the atmosphere that was created there, people describe working in this set as the happiest time in their lives. They could not wait to come to work in the morning. And I don't know if you know this, but nothing, you know how Seinfeld is almost totally ad-libbed? None of this was ad-libbed. They worked really, really hard on the script and then memorized their lines, and then it was just, they did a rehearsal. So the tone that Andy set in Mayberry, that was his gift to everyone. This is what Ronnie Howard said after he died. Ron Howard said, "The spirit he created on the set of Andy Griffith's show was joyful and professional all at once. It was an amazing environment, and I think it was a reflection of the way he felt about having the opportunity to create something that people could enjoy. It was always with respect and passion for the opportunity and really what it could offer people in a very unpretentious and earthy way. He felt he was always working in service of an audience he really respected and cared about. He was a great influence on me. His passing is sad, but he lived a great, rich life." This last clip is one that Ronnie Howard's father, Rance Howard, took while they were filming. It's kind of an unusual behind-the-scenes Super 8 movie of just them making the show. And you get to see sort of behind the scenes what it's like. It's very, very sweet. Take a look at this. That's Ron Howard's real-life younger brother, who was on the show a little bit. That's sweet. I want to finish with an affirmation. And the affirmation is, I remember my connectedness with others and see beauty in all the people I meet. Can you say that with me? I remember my connectedness with others and see beauty in all the people I meet. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, for bringing us up to date in our metaphysical interpretation. Thank you so much. And so now this is our time to give from our unlimited abundance and open hearts. And here, before we do that, are a few words from Prosperity by Charles Fillmore. Do not hold yourself in fear of lack. Nothing will so broaden your mind and your world as the realization that all is yours. When you realize the boundlessness of spiritual substance, nothing shall be lacking in your world. See with the bountiful eye. So let us now affirm our offering blessing together. Divine love, I am. blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am so grateful.
I was born in a small town, and I live in a small town. I'll probably die in a small town. All those small communities. All my friends are so small town. My parents live in the same small town. My job is so small town, provides little opportunity. Educated in a small town, taught to fear Jesus in a small town. Used to daydream in a small town. Another boring romantic, that's me. But I've seen it all in a small town. I had myself a ball in a small town. Married an LA doll and brought her here to this small town. Now she's small town, just like me. No, I cannot forget where it is that I came from. I cannot forget people who love me. Yeah, I can be myself here in this small town, and people let me be just what I want to be. Nothing against a big town. Still hayseed enough to say, look who's in the big town. But my bed is in a small town, and that's good enough for me. Well, I was born in a small town, and I can breathe in a small town. Gonna die in this small town, and that's probably where they bury me. Thank you.
And now, let us welcome our children.
Good morning. Today the children have been watching the movie called Hero 6. And they want to tell us something about it.
Why is this broken? I am a powerful channel for endless creativity and wisdom. Is this the God? Yep. Okay. No matter what is going on in my life, I know I have the power to make things better. This is yours now. We had 2 kids today. My ability to conquer my challenges is limitless. My potential to succeed is infinite. I am powerful. I can do anything.
And now let's bless our children. You are the light of the world. Live as the light. And now hold hands and we'll sing our song.
This week, experience your connection and love with everyone you meet. Have a great week.
Slow down, you move too fast. You got to make the morning last. Just kicking down the cobblestones. Look at the fun and feeling groovy. La 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 la. for me. Ticking the flute to feeling groovy. La 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 la, feeling groovy. La 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 la, feeling groovy. Got no deeds to do, no promises to keep. I'm dappled and drowsy and ready for sleep. Let the morning time tackle its petals on me. Like I love you, all is groovy.